Hi, everybody. It's Patricia Coughlin, and I am, once again, responding to a request by a subscriber to discuss the phenomenon of depersonalization, derealization, dissociation. In a sense, these are all dissociative phenomenon, right? Feeling like things aren't real, or like you're not yourself, or again, really dissociating from the present moment rather completely. So, what this means, first of all, is that anxiety is extremely high and it's over the patient's threshold to be able to think clearly. If a patient isn't present, if they can't think, they can't learn or absorb anything you're doing. So, lowering anxiety is always going to be the first order of business. So, again, you recognize if someone suddenly says, "Gosh, I'm getting dizzy. I can't even hear what you're saying," or I was asking a woman who had just come in for a first session. She seemed quite anxious. Was she aware of it? And how did she experience it? And she said, it's all a little unreal. And so, again, you want to explore that, what their actual experience is, and then immediately tie it. Wow, so you're super anxious right now, right? Let's see if we can bring that down. So just labeling it, understanding that these defenses, if you will, right, of depersonalization, derealization, dissociation are being used, right, in the face of very high anxiety. So try to bring that down, get the person in the body, right? What are they experiencing right now in the body? So once you start to see, oh, they'll sigh, or they might say, oh gosh, yeah, I'm clearing up now. You want to have some indication that anxiety is actually coming down. And at that point, so that's number one, right? Wow, your anxiety is super high right now. Let's see what we can do to bring it down. And then number two is to identify the trigger. So, when did you notice that? In the case I mentioned, it had to do with coming in, right, for the first session, her anxiety about what was going to happen there. Then you're going to do some inquiry. Is it just here with me, or does this happen sometimes, all the time? Again, nothing happens all the time. So when people say, I'm always like this, you want to investigate that further. And when people are not present and they're not attending, they're not paying attention to the fact that these things are always fluctuating, right? The level of anxiety, the kind of defense in operation. So again, you're going to want to invite them to pay close attention to what's happening inside along with you. Right? So once you identify, wow, that's a sign of really high anxiety. When did that start? Right? So it looks like it has to do with opening up here with me, or it might happen in a very specific situation you're talking about. Let's say a feeling towards someone in their life, and then suddenly they lose track of their thoughts, forget what you were talking about. Again, once the anxiety is down, you go back and you say, boy, it was just as we were starting to look at this anger you're feeling towards your husband that you checked out. Are you aware? So then you're going to help them. Are you aware that there's something about facing that anger that's really anxiety provoking for you? And you have a tendency to just want to run away from that. So as you're doing this kind of 1, 2, 3, right, identifying the anxiety, then the trigger, and trying to get to, so what was that then? It was a reaction and anxiety about a particular feeling, right, or about the process of coming to see you and opening up, right? Then you're going to want to ask them, right, that you want to make sure that they're seeing that, see that sequence, right? And then you're going to explore that further, either the feeling, right, specifically, or what it is about opening up to you that is so scary to them. And that will typically have to do with, feelings toward other figures who you represent, right? That you're a helper or an authoritarian figure, and people in that category in the past have really let them down or even abuse them in some way, right? So, this is the kind of approach that you're going to want to take. And again, make sure before you proceed to examining further what might be going on that the person is present, that their anxiety has been reduced. And again, you can invite them and ask, are you willing, right, to be present here with me, connected to yourself and me, so that we can work together to get to the bottom of your difficulties. All right, so I hope this is helpful. In a way, it's not that complicated, right? These defenses, again, are a manifestation of very high anxiety and of a relatively low capacity to regulate that anxiety in such a way that the patient could use more intellectualizing defenses or maybe abandon those altogether, right? But again, as long as the person is not present, they're not seeing, hearing, thinking, nothing you're going to do is going to help them. So that is, again, the first order of business. So I hope this is helpful to you, and I look forward to hearing back. Bye-bye.